My name is Tina Wong, and this is my spiritual awakening journey. For those who know me from Awaken with Tina, you know that I've been sharing a lot about spiritual awakening, energy updates, energy readings, and understanding who we are from inside out. But in this video, I want to share with you a more personal side of how this whole thing started for me, how I went from this to where I am right now. And let me tell you, it has been a long ride. So why don't we just get right into it? Grab your tea, grab your water, grab your kombucha, whatever. Join me here today. I'm going to share with you the highlights, what has happened, and maybe you can feel into this as well. So let's see, how did it all start? It all started actually from when I discovered veganism. And it's kind of in a very interesting way because I went vegan a long time ago, almost overnight. Actually, overnight. I literally watched a documentary and it was called The Earthlings. I watched that documentaries along with a bunch of other documentaries, and then I just literally opened my eyes up to a whole new world. I was like, what? I felt like I was being lied to my whole life. And I don't know if you guys have been feeling this way, where when I learned about the nutritional facts, the one that's like 40% protein, your plate should have 30% like carbs, like cheese, stuff like that, meat, that like the pie chart. So I discovered that it was a lie, that it was done not by a nutritionist only, it's done by the actual industry of wanting us to consume more meat, more dairy. So what I found out is a lot of the things here that has been created on this earth is for different interests of different parties. And when I found that out, I just felt like, oh my gosh, I was just being blindly doing what I was told. Like, even from the food I eat, how I dress, how I live my life, how I decided to do this versus this. It was all kind of orchestrated. And by me understanding this whole thing about veganism, it really opened up my eyes. Now, I was vegan full on for 4 years, and I'm not a vegan anymore. And if you guys want to know why, maybe I'll make a separate video on this. And maybe if you're interested, I'll talk more about what happened and stuff like that. Just let me know in the comments below. But that really was the event that triggered my thinking of what else is there. What else is it that I don't know? What else is it that they are not telling us? So that brought me into searching and being open and keeping my eyes, ears, energies open to like, okay, what is it I need to be alert on? And one day when I was going to a Buddhist temple, actually, side backstory, I'm not of any religion growing up, pretty much atheist, didn't really believe in anything, but my parents really liked to go to the Buddhist temple to donate. That's like one of their favorite hobbies. So I was just going there with them, waiting for them to do their donation, doing their prayings to the Buddha, and I was like sitting there being bored and whatnot. And then I took a book because they had this shelf of all these free books. And I was like, okay, let me just read it. I have nothing else to do. So I took the book and I started reading it. And the book that was really catching my eye, it was called Cause and Effect. And it was about when you do something, there's actually effects and ripple effects and how it comes back to you and so on and so forth. And that was really the first time that I opened up my consciousness and understanding that there's connectivities outside throughout our world. So for example, if I go up to you, I slap you in the face, which, of course I won't do that. But, if I were to do that, do you think that's going to trigger some reaction or not? You see what I mean? So it's like if I slap you, maybe you'll slap me back, and then I'll slap you, and then like, I don't know, my family's gonna come, and then your gang is gonna come. You know what I mean? So this is really, really opening my consciousness to know that everything starts from That one action. When you start to do something, there's a ripple effects, and how everything comes back, and how everything is like that infinity sign. What you give is what you receive. So from that book, I started to really understand that we ultimately, what we give is what we are receiving. If we give out more love, more light, more joy, that's what we're gonna get in one way or another. And I really believe if you understand and if you pay attention to the connectivity of life, how everything and everyone is connected. We have this notion, or I thought we did as well, that we are so independent, that we are just our own individual person. And we're separate, we live in separate houses, we have a separate space, and so on and so forth. But who built the house? Did you build your house? Maybe not all of it. Did you put the electric cables in, right? Did you put every screw in to your furniture, to your chairs, to everything, your windows? Probably not, right? So this is really understanding that we live in a codependent world. So why do we look at it as a bad way? Why do we close ourselves and put ourselves in little boxes and say, you know what, I don't want to touch you, I don't want to hug you, I don't want to make eye contact with you? So that humanity or humanness started to lose. So back to the story of when I discovered this, it totally changed my life. So what happened was I was being really curious and started reading up into Buddhism and Buddhist concepts. Now keep in mind that even at that time I wouldn't consider myself a Buddhist, and it wasn't about converting to any religion. It was about this philosophy, this way of having it so practical. I was really drawn to it. So then I started reading up in it about it, and what I learned was the Buddha's teaching was a lot about being, a lot about accepting, and a lot of letting go about the things that you cannot change. So why change? So why bother? And then I was like, oh my gosh, this makes so much sense. It's like the whole time in my life, I was trying to control everything, from the way I look, from the way I sound, from the way I choose to show up, from my partners, like everything. Like I was trying to control every little thing in my life. And then I realized, like, what the heck am I doing? And I realized that when I'm in control, I'm in this nervous mode. I'm in this anxious mode. I'm in this mode where I feel like I cannot trust anything or anyone, including myself. That's why I need control. I need to know what time is this thing, what is included. I was that kind of person. And then I realized that a lot of the layers was making me tough, was putting up a front of being strong, being like, I don't care about anyone. And I realized it wasn't me. But I was taught that if I don't put up a front, people are going to not look at me, they're not going to take me seriously. If I don't appear to be tough, then they're going to think that I'm worthless, and they won't promote me at work, they won't want to be my friends, I won't fit into society. So for the longest time in my growing up, I was putting this front of being serious, being hardworking, being tough, being cold even, like I'm not always the friendliest person growing up, because to be honest, I was really shy, but it come off as being cold. And how the whole thing went like full force, my spiritual awakening was when there was, how do you say this? There was this person, this guy that I dated for many years. I think it was 4 years that we were dating, and we were going to get married. And we had all planned. Our parents were looking at rings and everything. It was like pretty much a done deal. And then he called me up one day. He was in California at the time, and I was in Toronto. He called me up and he said, I don't think I'm ready for this. I don't think we should be a thing. And I can't even tell you, for those of you who have suffered from heartbreaks before and breakups, you know that it just like you can never prepare yourself for it, you know? And this is someone that I thought it was like the love of my life. We're gonna have kids together, we're gonna grow a family, and all of that. And he called me on the phone, you know? He broke up with me on the phone. And that was it. Hung up. And in that moment, my world came crashing down. Every fear that I had about security, about who I am, about my future, about my life, about how other people will look at me, it all came. I almost went into like a panic attack. Maybe I did. Oh God, I couldn't breathe. I was so scared. I was like, oh my gosh, like, what am I gonna do? Like, what am I gonna tell my parents? What am I gonna tell my friends? Everyone knows that we're gonna get married. Who am I gonna like be with? Who's gonna be with me? You know, dating takes really long, and finding the one, and making sure that they are the one. And I was just like panicking. And that phase, it was really dark for me. It was a very dark phase in my life where I was just like, why is this happening? What did I do wrong? Is there something wrong with me? And what happened here was I was in this phase where I realized that instead of actually sitting still and asking myself, well, now this is happening. What does it mean for you? How are you feeling? How are you, Tina? I didn't do that. Instead, I paid attention to what other people think. How are they going to perceive me? What's going to happen in my future? Like, I was looking at things from all these external factors. And then the moment kicked in that what happened to loving myself? And I realized in that moment that, my gosh, I need to love myself. I need to be there for myself. And by him leaving, it really allowed me an opportunity to deeply reflect on that. And I went and picked up this book, and today I still have it. It's called True Love by Thich Nhat Hanh. And I would highly recommend this book, by the way, for those of you who are ready to awaken to love. It changed my life. And in that book, he was talking about how to not be attached to someone or expect certain things of them because you love them. And in there, I understood this one beautiful concept. Love without attachment. Unconditional love. And it's probably harder said than done, but I went into practice anyway. Just like a flower. Can you appreciate, this is not, I don't know if this is a flower, but it just fell. How can you appreciate this for what it is? I love you. Like, does this flower need to do something for me to love it? Probably not. I can just love it. So same with whoever that you love, whatever that you love, allow yourself to fully be there in the love frequency. Love something, love someone because you love it, not because they have to love you back. And that was the moment I understood what love truly is. And you see one thing trigger, and I was just open and open and open and open. And how I got to where I am right now was from that moment, I realized that there's so much for me to learn about myself, for me to truly love who I am and accept me and do something for me. and not always waiting for my boyfriend to take me there, waiting for my partner to one day take me there, or else, I can't go for some reason. So then I decided, you know what? Since I have all these vacation at time hours, because, I'm like single now, right? I'm gonna go on a trip for me. And I went to Bali. Actually, I'm in Bali right now. The first time I went to Bali, fresh after my breakup, 2 months into my breakup, I was okay, but I really wanted to do it for me. So when I went on the Bali trip, actually Indonesia, and then we went to Bali, I went to there with my friend and a group of like this adventure tour group. I don't know if you guys ever been on those, but it was called Chi Adventures, and it was like a group of like younger people. They wanted to see all these cool things, but then they wanted to do it kind of like together and meet friends. So then I was a part of that tour. And what happened on there was this one night. It was so emotional, and I feel like I'm getting really emotional even thinking about it. In this one night, it was completely dark. It was completely pitch black. We woke up at 2:45 a.m. to watch the sunrise to go to this volcano point called Bromo. And as we were arriving, the group of us, I remember looking at the night sky. And that moment changed my life forever. Because I was looking up, and then I realized this sky full of stars is so beautiful. And I never got to see a sky full of stars because I've always waited for someone to take me. I've always waited for my ex-boyfriend to take me. We had all these plans that we would go together, but I was like, okay, I'll wait so I can go stargazing with you. I'll wait so we can go to Bali together. I'll wait so we can do this together. There were so many things that I didn't do for myself because I had plans and I saved it for something and for someone. And on that night, when I was looking at the beautiful sky full of stars, I made a powerful promise to myself that I'm gonna start doing things for me. That I have to do things for me. And I can't stop waiting and wasting my life and letting another moment pass by. Because in that moment, I realized life is too short. Life is a miracle. Like I felt like this little ant. When I look up in the sky, in the galaxy, up in the universe, I felt so little. And that moment, let me tell you, it was one of the biggest awakening moments of my life. That I realized how little we are in compared to the vast, majestic, mystical universe. So that's when I started to dive deeper into spirituality and learning about all of these different mysticals of the world. That maybe life is not just something happened by accident. Maybe it's all has a purpose. It all has a plan. And maybe life, it just happens with and through synchronicities. And when you're ready for something, it will come. Things will dissolve so that you can step into a new version of you. And with my devotion and interest and curiosity, and to be honest, openness to receive miracles, to experience magic of the world, that has led me learning about the different laws of the world, working with energies, tuning into my gifts and powers and intuition and psychic gifts. And I didn't know I had that, to be honest, I didn't know. I found out all of this the moment when I went within. When I figured out that actually, in quietness, in stillness, in getting to know who you are, when looking around at the world around you, of how special this place is, how magical that life is, and how much have we taken it for granted, and how much have we been chickening ourselves out and talking ourselves out of going to see places, doing things that we know is nourishing for us, and making excuses to keep us small. So long story short, I quit my job. I went traveling full time. I met my soulmate. That's another story. If you guys want to know the soulmate story, it's a very juicy one, I can tell you that. So there's a lot of things that has happened. I started my YouTube channel and then it boomed and I'm connected with all of you guys here. And I realized one thing. When you are ready, it will show up. When you're ready to let go of who you were and who you are not, the real you, the true you will come through, will come through. But it's not always easy. It feels like literally death every time I'm evolving. It feels so painful to let go that old part of me, but I know the old part of me has served its purpose, but now I'm ready to step more and more into who I am and relaxing into my truth and authenticity, which is love, which is light, which is peace. So I'm excited to share more bits and pieces of the stories that is evolved to you. And if you guys got anything from it, share with me in the comments. I would love to hear your spiritual awakening. What was that one thing that really started this journey for you? And if you guys like these kind of videos, story time, stuff like that, let me know. I would love to make more. So thank you for listening. If you've been feeling low, check this out.